From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Now at 11, plans are on hold to overhaul the United States Postal Service after concern and backlash from voters, lawmakers, and USPS employees across the country. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy announced the pause on changes he said would save money to avoid the appearance of impacting the general election when many people plan to vote by mail.
WRTV's Cornelius Hawker talked to a nonpartisan organization that says with 11 weeks to go, their only focus is letting people know how they can exercise their right to vote.
COVID has really been a game changer for elections in the United States.
Rhea Kane, president of the League of Women Voters, has been tackling the changes created by COVID head on. One of the biggest being voting by mail to avoid the chance of catching coronavirus.
We as an organization are strongly encouraging folks to actually have their ballot in the mail no later than October 19th.
That's 3 days before the deadline to even apply for a mail-in ballot. But Rhea tells me it's important to do things as early as possible because Indiana isn't a state prepared for a huge increase of mail-in ballots.
We feel that is giving the clerks all throughout the state of Indiana enough time to get their ducks in a row.
Voting by mail has turned into a political issue after President Trump claimed it would lead to fraud, despite not having any evidence of that. And the current Postmaster General implementing changes which slowed down mail delivery, changes that have stopped until after the election. But the impact of all that is minimal on the work the League of Women Voters is doing.
I'm going to be real honest with you. It's not going to change too much of our messaging.
If you're worried about putting your ballot in the mail, but want to avoid long lines on November 3rd, Rhea offers up this alternative.
If you are able to vote early in person, so 28 days before the election, the clerk's office will be open and allow for early voting.
However you choose to vote, Rhea stresses it's important to plan ahead. And if you do have trouble, she urges you to reach out to your lawmakers, local, state, and federal to express your frustrations.
It is a constitutional right. Voting is not a privilege, it's a right. And so governments need to do everything in their power to make the voting booth as accessible as it can be to its citizens.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Information on how to vote here in Indiana, whether by mail or in person, can be found in this story on our website at WRTV.com.
Tonight we have reaction to steps Governor Eric Holcomb announced today that he says will help tackle racial injustice. The new plan includes a new Chief Officer of Equity, Inclusion, and Opportunity. The position will be dedicated to working with state agencies to improve equality in the workplace and with government services. The Equity Officer will report to Governor Holcomb. He also said every frontline state trooper will wear a body camera by next spring and proposed a review of state police training.
I will direct a third-party, top-down review of our state police and law enforcement academy curriculum and training. This can confirm good practices, but it can also help us modernize how we train our officers. We'll look at areas like use of force, de-escalation training, and implicit bias training.
Last week, the Black Legislative Caucus called for body and dash cameras for police agencies statewide. Dr. Woody Myers, Holcomb's Democratic opponent in the November election, tweeted a response saying, quote, "My opponent, as usual, offers much too little and much too late," end quote. Myers, by the way, is the first black major party nominee for Indiana governor.
WRTV also reached out to the African American Coalition of Indianapolis. Marshawn Wally, a spokesperson with the organization, calls the governor's plan an important first step.
It's notable that he said Black Lives Matter and that Black livelihoods matter. There's been politicians that have been a little afraid of embracing that language. At the substantive policy level, he did announce some interesting things, including a position within state government to look at equity, opportunity and inclusion, body-worn cameras, looking at diversity within state agencies. The challenge always with these kinds of situations is, what will be the results? What will be the actual outcomes? And so we have to wait for that. But this is a good first step.
We also reached out to the Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter, talked about body cameras.
I recognize there's a desire for all police officers to have these body cameras. understand that they're mechanical devices that can fail. So it's important that I take the responsibility seriously and I do this correctly. And I commit to the front line and to the citizens of our state that I will.
Superintendent Carter says the department will need to spend about $5 million to purchase body cams for around 700 troopers. He says the cost of managing the data will be about $1.5 million annually.
In January of last year, ISP told WRTV the department had no plans to add body cameras because of the financial impact on taxpayers. The issue was under a microscope at the time after a state trooper shot and killed a man in Montgomery County in December of 2018. Family members say Glenn Wrightsell was working on his daughter's broken down car when he was shot and killed by Trooper Daniel Organ. The prosecutor cleared Organ of any wrongdoing, saying that he believed a gun was being drawn on him when he shot Wrightsell.
For local organizations, each on a mission to help make Indianapolis safer, are getting some financial help. Today, the city awarded $75,000 violence prevention grants to Voices, Community Action of Greater Indianapolis, the Edna Martin Christian Center, and Recycle Force. Recycle Force is an electronics recycling facility. It gives used materials a new purpose and people a new purpose as well. The organization hires men and women who may have spent time in jail or prison and provides them with paid job training and certifications. Shane Shepard says he did not know where to turn after spending 12 years in federal prison. Recycle Force changed that.
I have nowhere to go, nothing to do, no purpose. I'm more likely to be like a leaf. The wind blow, I'll go with the wind. But if I know that I have to be at work, even if it's a menial job, and I have a carrot in front of me saying I better get a better job, it gives me a moment of pause when I get that moment of boredom that might allow me to go do something foolish or might allow me to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Recycle Force's goal is to provide workers with skills and connections to help them move on to permanent jobs.
If you missed today's virtual meeting about the Purple Line, there are more opportunities to learn about the project this week. Indigo will host 2 open houses tomorrow at Cafe Indy on East 38th Street. The first one goes from 11 to 1 o'clock. The second is from 5 to 7:30. Then on Thursday, the public is invited to a Purple Party from 11 to 2 at the Transit Center downtown. There will be music, giveaways, and updates on the project. You are reminded to wear a mask. The Purple Line, by the way, will connect downtown to Lawrence.
Now to the forecast. WRTV Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory joins us now, tracking some beautiful days ahead. And it was a beautiful evening, Kevin, a little cooler.
Set the stage for what will be cool tomorrow morning. Kokomo and Muncie will lead the way into the 50s. Currently in the low 60s, we'll have clear skies through the overnight hours. Remember last night, of course, we had the showers and thunder showers that moved through into the morning hours. That's all down in Kentucky. High pressure sits to our northwest. That big blue H keeps us on the mild side the next 2 days with below average temperatures. Down to 57 overnight, some light patchy fog possible. Outlying areas from Indy, low to mid 50s, and we'll repeat that a couple more times within the forecast. Here are the high temperatures for tomorrow. They'll climb into the upper 70s. We'll talk about the changes as we move into the weekend coming up.
And starting tomorrow, in-person undergraduate classes at Notre Dame will be suspended. The university announced the change today. Students will take part in remote instruction only for the next 2 weeks. The decision comes after a spike in COVID cases since the semester started last week. The university president says he decided against sending students home after consulting with health experts. But student activity is restricted. That includes limited access to dorms and major gathering places on campus. And statewide, people ages 20 to 29 account for 18.5% of positive COVID cases in Indiana. That is according to the State Department of Health. People 19 and younger make up 10.5%. Hoosiers 80 and older account for just 6.6% of cases, but make up more than 50% of deaths from the virus in the state.
The Democratic National Convention continues. The theme of day 2, Leadership Matters. ABC's Andrew Nimbert reports tonight's speakers included some members of political dynasties and possible future leaders of the party.
Night 2 of the Democratic National Convention, marking the official start of the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris ticket in the 2020 race for the White House.
Delaware is proud to cast its 32 votes for our favorite son and our next president.
Our friend, Delaware, Joe Biden.
Well, thank you very, very much. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all. It means the world to me and my family, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Headlined by Joe Biden's wife, Jill, the former second lady adding a personal perspective to the Democratic Party's push for her husband and Harris to defeat President Trump in November.
Jill just simply cares.
Opening night of the convention featured speakers and endorsements for Biden that crossed party lines, with some prominent Republicans breaking party ranks in favor of the Democratic ticket. Now stepping into the spotlight on the second night, a mix of some of the Democrats' old guard and new standouts. Former President Bill Clinton endorsing Biden.
Our party is united in offering you a very different choice, a go-to-work president.
And freshman Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also a guest speaker, although the progressive Congresswoman rattling rank-and-file Democrats with this.
I hereby second the nomination of Senator Bernard Sanders of Vermont for President of the United States of America.
Meanwhile, convention organizers continued to bring some Republican speakers to the fold, like former George W. Bush Secretary of State Colin Powell, who's throwing his support behind Biden.
Our country needs a commander-in-chief who takes care of our troops in the same way he would his own family.
While Democrats build up Biden on their big stage, President Trump stopping and stumping in critical battleground states Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Arizona, countering the convention with repeated attacks on his opponents, calling 2020 the most consequential election.
This election that we're going into is the most important election in the history of our country. Because we had crooked Hillary, but this is something, these people are sick.
And back at the convention, history is being made. With Kamala Harris tapped to be Joe Biden's running mate, she's the first woman of color to appear on a major party ballot as a vice presidential candidate. And the president was also critical of the Democratic National Convention for having mostly pre-recorded speeches, calling it boring. But the Republican National Convention, which kicks off next week, is expected to also be a mostly virtual experience. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, Washington.
Still ahead, how Black-owned businesses in central Indiana are working together to support and lift each other up, especially during this difficult time.
When you give to your community, when they support you and you support them, that works hand in hand, and that doesn't ever stop.
Coming up, a local company puts the bottom line aside to help a 95-year-old homeowner.
The Pacers finally getting the playoffs started today, but the blue and gold will have some work to do after a tough Game 1. We'll have a recap next when WRTV News at 11 continues.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Welcome back. The NBA playoffs are getting underway 4 months later than planned. The Pacers earned the number 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, but there's no real home court advantage in the bubble. Brad Brown shows us how the Miami Heat took an early series lead.
Familiar foes in the first round of the playoffs. The teams just played each other twice last week. Tuesday's Game 1 got off to a less than ideal start for the Pacers. Just 8.5 minutes in, Victor Oladipo got poked in the eye going for a rebound. Turned out to be a pretty significant scratch, and Oladipo would have to leave the game. He did not return. The offense would be there early on, though. TJ Warren scored 9 of his team best 22 points in the opening quarter. Pacers scored 33 in the first, opened an 8-point lead. Malcolm Brogdon did what he could in Vic's absence, a dunk to close out the first half. He also scored 22, but Miami would turn in a 4-point lead at halftime. In the third, a run by the Heat would put them up by 10. Bam Adebayo with some aggressive play all afternoon. He scored 17 for Miami. Pacers cut it to 1 at the end of the third. TJ McConnell pulls up and hits 81-80 at that quarter break. But Miami dominated the final frame. Goran Dragic hit for 13 points in a 5-minute stretch, and Jimmy Butler would lead all scorers for the Heat with 28 points. 113-101 when it was finished. It's Miami getting the 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 series.
Dynamics change. That's been one of our strengths all season, is we haven't had everybody, every guy throughout the, down the stretch. So, usually we've been able to overcome it, but that's a really good team on the other side. So, now we got to adjust. We know what we're dealing with or without Vic. We got to be able to adjust and play basketball.
They picked up their intensity the second half, starting with the third quarter. I thought we did a better job of taking care of the ball. But the fourth quarter, we started to turn the ball over more in that they executed going down the stretch.
They capitalized on our mistakes late in the game, and they was hitting shots. We had a couple of defensive mistakes, and they made us pay.
After the game, the Pacers said Oladipo visited the league's clinic on site. His eye injury is not expected to be serious. He's officially listed as day-to-day for now. The teams will play every other day in the first round. Game 2 coming up on Thursday will be an early tip at 1 p.m. Game 3 Saturday, Game 4 next Monday. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Brad, thanks. A 95-year-old woman in Indianapolis has a new roof over her head tonight, thanks to a local company. This home on 34th Street near the east side belongs to Edna Lou Beatty. Amos Exteriors provided the free labor and supplies. Crew leaders say Miss Edna has been a friend to the company for a long time.
I came out here 3 years ago to do just a very small repair. She kind of adopted me then, and I've been taking care of her ever since, including today. She's been in this house since 1959, so she's been a staple in this community. We're a part of the community, and so it's time to give back to it, and we're doing it right now by doing this for her.
Rain this morning put a damper on the project. They were able to get back to work this afternoon. Love seeing that kind of goodwill, you guys.
It is always so good to see. And Kevin, what is also so great to see is this forecast you have for us.
Yes, any outdoor work, whether it's a roof on a home or mowing the lawn, is in good shape next several days. How about this? Next 3 mornings in the 50s. Many of you may have the windows open right now, letting some of that fresh air in. The humidity certainly lower. Our rain chances for our low rain chances this weekend for especially Sunday, about a 30% chance, and then temperatures starting Friday with the humidity will come back up. Not the next 3 mornings, very comfortable. Temperatures in the 50s, as I mentioned. These are Indianapolis low temperatures. Outlying areas will be cooler. Dry through Friday. The chance for rain about 20%, and that's really southern third of the state. Saturday, no more than a 30% chance on Sunday for a shower or thunderstorm, and that's, of course, Indy 500 Sunday. Temperatures in the low 50s north by morning. We woke up to showers this morning. It will be clear, maybe some patchy fog around first thing to begin your Wednesday. We recover up to 80 for the high. Humidity still low, and 81. Tons of sun to end the work week. A little bit warmer. Friday sets the stage for stepping into the weekend where temperatures do warm into the mid-80s. There's the humidity that gradually increases. It never becomes what I'd call tropical, but you'll notice a little more moisture. Okay, it was gusting over 20 miles per hour today, and the northeast wind returns tomorrow, not quite as strong. Northeast 10 to 15 miles per hour. Keeps the temperatures below average. There the highs from north to south, everybody within a couple of degrees of 80. As you look at Thursday, not much changes. Sunshine from start to finish. Temperatures again, just about 80 for the afternoon high temperature. That's the last of the below average days, because I think on Friday we'll get temperatures back closer to that 84-degree high. So enjoy 2 days in a row where temperatures are just around 80 for the high temperature. As I mentioned, into the weekend we go. Chance for a shower or thunder shower, just 30% on Sunday. Here's 7-day forecast. We put it together. The most comfortable mornings all occur over the next 3 days. Lows will slip back into the mid-60s. Highs back into the mid-80s, and with the warmer, more humid air, that slight chance for a thunderstorm on Sunday at 16th in Georgetown and at your house, especially from central to southern portions of the state. We'll be back with more news right after this.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Tomorrow, city leaders will discuss plans to help downtown Indianapolis rebound as the pandemic continues. Mayor Joe Hogsett and the president of Downtown Indy, Inc. will announce city funding for new initiatives that have been developed by the Downtown Recovery Committee. Officials say this dedicated funding is part of a comprehensive plan to address the immediate economic, public health, and public safety challenges facing downtown. Those details will be announced at 11 a.m.
The movement to support Black-owned businesses may not be getting as much national attention right now, but it's still alive and well. In central Indiana, business owners are working together to connect to each other and the community. WRTV's Troy Washington explains the grassroots effort.
Tiana Thompson started Black-owned Midwest, a group that connects Black business owners.
Black architects to Black therapists, and so forth, even lawyers. And so we're all just excited.
There are even Black farmers in the group, like Selena Tillman, an urban farmer who runs Serenity Gardens.
Black-owned Midwest has been a great, I guess, kind of connector between a local community growth spot and the local community.
The group is about 3,400 people. Strong.
And the group is growing every day.
Buying Black is in right now just because of the movement. And I found that a lot of people, no matter what skin tone you are in, they want to support Black businesses.
In July, right here inside of Cleo's Bodega and Cafe, Thompson received a proclamation from the state supporting the Buying Black movement.
There is a stigma that we don't support each other, that we're not looking out for each other. So if we can all band together and show that we are one unit, we are a community, our culture does matter.
Lena Dickerson recognizes the strength in unity.
Anybody in the group can just comment and say, do y'all want to pop out today? And we'll just say yeah and decide on where to go.
And many other group members agree. We are all better together. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
For more details, go to our website, WRTV.com. Business owners can also find resources through the Indy Black Chamber of Commerce.
The Rebound Indiana is showing you how groups are stepping up to help Hoosier families in need and where you can get help if you're struggling to make ends meet. The need is great in parts of Morgan County. We first showed you Churches in Mission in March. The collaborative effort serves the community through food assistance, access to hygiene products and clothing, as well as rental and utility assistance. The organization is preparing to host a virtual fundraiser this week to raise money and awareness.
Quite often we live in our worlds, we're in the world of busyness, we're doing this and that, and we forget about those that are in need. So awareness is key. The other one is then create an action plan.
WRTV is the exclusive media partner for Churches and Missions virtual fundraiser this year. We will live stream the event on our Facebook page this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. For registration information, go to WRTV.com/rebound. We'll be right back. Due to the pandemic, the owner of this Los Angeles home cannot throw a party and invite everyone they know, but they can enjoy it with 3 or 4 of their closest friends. This is the house featured on the iconic 80s sitcom, The Golden Girls. It recently sold for nearly $4 million, about $1 million more than the asking price. The house was used in the first season of the show. Producers created a replica on a movie lot for the other seasons. No word on if the refrigerator in the real home comes stocked with cheesecake. Sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it, Kevin? A slice of cheesecake.
Always up for a midnight snack. From the Golden Girls home to my home studio. You know how we have strict deadlines we have to meet. Look at Rory Gregory. She's not stressed. 70s to 80 degrees tomorrow. Back to you guys.